Hello. First of all, it's an absolute honor to meet both of my heroes in real life. One would be a question exclusively for you. Another would be both of you and Annamalai are now together, because I don't know if I'll get an opportunity again. First is, since we're in Mylapore, do you think there is credence to the fact that Mylapore temple's original location is something else? And if that's true, do you think it's possible for us to get it back? Second question, just one moment, for Annamalai and you together. As you know, Anna, concurrent list, item 28, is religious endowments.
Got it.
Why doesn't the central government, which has the power right now with an absolute majority, enact a law where they bring in temples not just for Tamil Nadu, but for all of India? Since Anna keeps saying that, the first signature would be to remove the HR&CE ministry.
Right.
Thank you so much.
So, the temple reclamation question and the temple management question are two different aspects. So let me try and address one of them, and I'll hand it over to Mr. Annamalai. First, when we wanted one, they said nothing doing. Now when we're asking for the other with evidence, they're saying nothing doing. So when somebody displays that kind of intransigence, I will say then my position of minimalism has no value. Let me now have no limits on my ask at all. At all. So when I dropped the figure of 40,000 over the last 2 weeks, people went on fire. Oh, what did he say? Barnaal Matama Vithupoche. Every 40,000 எங்க இருந்தது? அரே 3 கொடுத்தா நீ வந்து எதுவும் இல்லைன்னு சொல்ற. சரி நான் 40,000 கேட்கிறேன். Because anyway your answer is going to be sunna. 0. If your answer is a 0, then I have no other option but to take a maximalist position. 2, okay, let me ask a different kind of Dravidinist argument right now. I'll present that argument. Why haven't any of these people said, why only temples of the north? Kashi, Mathura and Ayodhya? What about the temples of the south? They are apparently batting for the southerners, right? If they were Hindutva southerners, they should be saying, why only 3 temples of the north? What about other temples? Because they have decided for us that these are the holiest of our places. Okay, so if Madurai Meenakshi had been under occupation, would we not have asked for it? Absolutely. If Srirangam had been under occupation, you wouldn't have asked for it? Let someone tell me that Srirangam isn't among the holiest of our shrines. I dare them. Let them say Madurai Meenakshi is not. If Sabrimala was under occupation, would you not take it back? That's it. In a community that has 51 Shaktipithas, 108 Divyadesams, 12 Jyotirlingas, what do you mean by 3 holiest of our shrines? Every community has its own holy shrine or holiest of shrines. I'm a Shaivite. For me, what is more important? As much as Ayodhya is important, Kashi is important, and if Chidambaram had been under occupation, that's equally important for me. Who are these people who are deciding for us to say, no, now that you want everything, limit it to 3? On what basis do you decide? When you you have a grand position is, Hinduism is not even centralized. Then how do you decide that 3 of these places are the holiest? If it is decentralized, then the argument has to be decentralized. Let the owners and the claimants of each of those temples decide for themselves. You don't decide for it. 2, when someone says, wouldn't this lead to some kind of a conflict and all that? They said this about 370. They said this about Rama. So every time it's a subtle threat that is being dropped. I'm saying, enough. Okay? Now this won't work anymore. The community has awakened. They've seen through all of this, and the evidence is right in front of your eyes, and your attitudes are also right in front of people's eyes. Enough is enough. The Supreme Court basically said that even the occupier for centuries will be given land despite having lost the case. That is the most magnanimous ask that you can get from the highest constitutional court of the country. I'm saying I'm willing to propose even that. Somebody asked for 5 villages once. I am giving you 5 acres now. You don't want this. Consequences will follow. Time will decide. The master accountant is always time. It is a Kala Chakram, it will keep coming back, and our time is now. Second, entry 28, I agree with you. I have said this in articles, I have said this in speeches. I think it's important for us to start forming a broader consensus. Since this ask has been limited to a select few people or select individuals, it has remained a storm in a teacup. My suggestion to you will be this. Strengthen his hands by making the temple freedom movement a Hindu movement and not the movement of one particular community in Tamil Nadu. I am not saying that anybody is limiting it to one particular community, but the perception needs to change, and I certainly think people who are working for it are working towards it. But the other side constantly says, no, this is effectively a clique of a particular community that is interested in restoring its domination and supremacy. Address that. Don't run away from it. It's important to address that. Start the outreach. The legal battle will be fought. The gentleman who represented Sri Ram Lalla in the Ayodhya case, Sri C.S. Vaidyanathan, is the one who's leading us in the battle. I am second in command. So we are in very safe hands, and those pair of hands belong to Sri C.S. Vaidyanathan. Remember that. People may not be aware of it, therefore it becomes my duty to inform people of this. Sri R. Venkatramani, who is the current Attorney General, was previously part of the team. He was at par with Mr. C.S. Vaidyanathan representing this matter. And then he became the Attorney General. So according to me, the stars are positioned in the right place. Please.
Dear brother, we all know why you have asked this question. Normally, this thought process comes when there is a mismanagement. When something is not right, something is not managed the way it is supposed to be managed. And the Tamil Nadu HR&CE Act is time tested by the Supreme Court at different points of time, especially in the case of Chidambaram Dikshidash issue, multiple cases. Now, visibly among the public, even a common man who is sitting in a tea stall will say, temples are mismanaged. Why I am saying this? In the last 3 days, if you have had the time to scan the newspaper, பார்த்துருந்தீங்கன்னா தெரியும், பழனி கோவிலில் அறநிலைத்துறை விற்கக்கூடிய பஞ்சாமிர்தம் அறநிலைத்துறை ஸ்டாலில் நேற்று காலையில் கெட்டுப்போன பஞ்சாமிர்தத்தை விற்கிறாங்க. Just one story in the newspaper yesterday. Day before yesterday in Avadi, in a temple run by HR&CE for the Lord, 8 சவரன் நகையை ஒருத்தர் எடுத்துட்டாங்க. யார் எடுத்தாங்கன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பார்ட் டைம் அர்ச்சகா, நாட் அ ஃபுல் டைம், பார்ட் டைம் அர்ச்சகா, பார்ட் டைம் டீச்சர், பார்ட் டைம் நர்ஸ் மாதிரி பார்ட் டைம் அர்ச்சகா. The recent audit statement of Tiruchendur Muruga temple says 5,309 cows are missing. அதான் நாம கொடுத்த கவு காணாம போச்சு. And in the audit report they have written, we don't know where the cow is. So இது ஒன்று. 1986 HR&CE affidavit in High Court, 2024 what they claim, we have lost 2 lakh acres of land belonging to temple. So நீங்க ஓவராலா பார்த்தீங்கன்னா there is a very fit case to say that temples are being thoroughly mismanaged as one. Second is disturbing the faith and the cultural process. இது வந்து ரெண்டாவது ப்ராசஸ்ங்க. This is where you get disturbed more. Prana Pradishtai. For a temple that is not run by HR&CE in Kanchipuram, the finance minister is sitting there like everybody there as a common audience, wanted to watch it live. And the local police was inside the temple removing the screen and saying, இதுக்கு பர்மிஷன் இல்லைங்க, you have to take permission for putting up a screen inside a private temple. In government run temples where people wanted to do annadana seva, மத்தியானம் வந்து பிராண பிரதிஷ்டை முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் சாப்பாடு கொடுக்கணும், very first time they said you got to take permission to even to offer food inside a temple, which in dharmic, in our dharma, that is a part of your duty. When you apply for permission, the question are 17 questions they ask. Who prepares the food, where the food is coming, list out all the items, how many people will eat, mention the quantity. Then you please go and meet the JC. So in the Mari. So part number 2 is more disturbing. One is mismanagement, of course. The part number 2 is a deliberate effort to stifle the way you practice your religion. Part number 3 is distorting your practice. பூஜை நடக்கிறது கிடையாது, அது எந்த விதத்தில் நடக்கணுமோ அது கிடையாது. இந்த மூன்றும் வந்து இப்போ தமிழ்நாட்டில் பார்க்க ஆரம்பிச்சிட்டோம். Now your specific question, is there a fit case? Yes, absolutely there is a fit case. That's why as a political person, we keep telling as a party's thing, In constituency number 100 in Srirangam, we said, time has come to dismantle HR&CE in Tamil Nadu, which BJP, when people vote us to power, we will do. Now the very specific question of entry 28 concurrent list. 2 days back, Amit Shah ji was sitting in an economic summit. There was an audience like you who asked a question. The opposition is unhappy with the Bharat Ratna that is given. They say for politically you are given Bharat Ratna to get votes. The opposition is asking, why not Savarkar is not given Bharat Ratna? Amit Shah ji's answer is my answer. Amit Shah ji said, thank you for the suggestion.
Last question. Yeah. This will be the last question.
Sir, Namaskar, sir. Sai Deepak Annamalai, sir. Basically, I am from Madhya Pradesh. I am pursuing my bachelor's in engineering here.
Ji.
So, sir, there are a lot of talks going about Hindu Rashtra. So, like, what are your opinions on Hindu Rashtra? And is Hindu Rashtra actually possible?
1, yes, it's possible. 2, it merely means restoring the civilizational identity of this land and not using imported values to pixelate our identity. It doesn't mean second-grade rights to anybody else, but it certainly means the preferential treatment that has been going on and on and on for over 100 years, according to me, not just over 75 years, needs to stop, and particularly history needs to be acknowledged. So when we are told that in the context of Jati and so on and so forth, acknowledgement of history is important and addressing that situation through social justice mechanisms is important, I fail to understand how does history suddenly become irrelevant and redundant in the context of other issues. You can't selectively say history is relevant for this and not this, because this is your pain point. I'll keep doing this on a regular basis. But as far as other issues are concerned, where history is actually acting to your advantage, I will not talk about it. That can't happen. 3, my vision for Bharat is actually what I would call Pax Indica, which is Greater Bharat. What is Pax Indica? If you read history, it will speak of Pax Britannica, Pax Romana, and now we are witnessing the dying gasps of Pax Americana, which means it's called Roman peace or English peace or American peace, which is peace that is established under the supremacy and the leadership of a particular country, where it has the widest possible economic influence, the widest possible cultural influence, and the widest possible political influence. My vision is strengthen your position within, and the immediate neighborhood of undivided Bharat should also become safe for the core identity of Bharat. That is the day you would effectively come to a point where a CAA is no more necessary. One is to enact a CAA to address the existing situation, but the next is to come to a point where you have a stick strong enough to say no further assaults on this identity in my neighborhood at the very least. That is my larger vision. Creating a safe homeland and a safe neighborhood for perhaps the most traumatized, genocided, massacred population of the world.